Kerala Cabinet recently decided to grant powers to local bodies near forest areas for culling of wild boars that are destroying crops, lives and properties. The demand has been pending before the government for a long time. This special power will be given strictly to the local bodies situated adjacent to forest areas. The state government has sent the ordinance in this regard for the approval of Governor Arif Mohammad Khan, and it will come into effect once the governor puts his signature on it. Once this happens, the local bodies adjacent to forest areas will have the power to shoot down wild boars which are found to be dangerous to the life and property of human beings. The state cabinet, however, rejected the proposal in the draft ordinance that allowed the use of hooks for killing wild boars, taking into account the central law that specifically bars it. The cabinet also accepted the suggestion of certain ministers that the law should be made applicable only to those local bodies located near the forest area. As per the new ordinance, the Gram Panchayat president or municipal chairperson or corporation mayor can be designated as an honorary wildlife warden for this specific purpose. It also proposed that the Gram Panchayat secretary, municipal secretary or the corporation secretary can be given powers by the chief wildlife warden of the forest department for gunning down wild boars. As per the existing rules, only the chief wildlife warden or the wildlife warden designated by the former has the powers to order the said killing. In small forest areas having a radius of 100 acres, the forest department itself will retain these powers. The ordinance contains strict provisions to carry out these operations. Janajagrata Samitis should be formed to execute both the killing and the burial of wild boars. The carcass of wild boars should be buried in a scientific way. The details of the operation should be entered in the register kept exclusively for it at the local bodies. It should also be ensured that the killing of wild boars is undertaken without affecting the lives of human beings and other animals. Explosives, poison and electric shock should not be applied for killing the animal. But the union government has made it clear again that wild boars cannot be designated as harmful animals as per law. In a reply to the representation given by K. Muralidharan MP raising such a demand, Union Minister for Forests Bhupendra Yadav Singh said that as per the provisions of the Wildlife Protection Act, the state government can take appropriate action to act against the wild boar menace. Meanwhile, animal rights activist and BJP MP Maneka Gandhi has come down heavily on the Kerala government's decision to empower panchayats to cull wild boars. She warned the Kerala government against the far-reaching consequences of the move to cull boars. She said it would have a great impact on ecology and public life in general. She said on Friday that the decision of Kerala cabinet is humiliating and has no scientific basis. Farmers who say wild boars should be killed are not true farmers. Earlier in her letter to Mr. Shashindran, Ms. Gandhi said the decision could result in a massacre of wild boars not just in panchayats and agricultural lands but also in the forests. Stressing the ecological relevance of wild boars, she said the wild boar was the only one species that consumed bracken, an undergrowth that prevents seedlings from growing by blocking sunlight in forests. Besides, its trait of constantly scratching on the floor aids forestation by clearing the ground for fresh growth. No forest can survive without it, Ms. Gandhi stated. The MP also raised caution against the possibility of big cats straying outside forests in search of food in the absence of wild boars. She also gave the example of an instance in Chandrapur in Maharashtra when a forest minister's order led to the culling of 200 wild boars within a week. He had to repeal the order after 60 tigers moved into the villages and 4 were found dead on railway track. Ms. Gandhi alleged that demand to cull wild boars was made by hunters and others who eyed monetary benefits through poaching and not by agriculturists, forest officers or wildlife experts. However, Kerala Forest Minister A.K. Shashindran strongly defended the move and criticized the centre for rejecting the state's repeated demands to declare the species as vermin and for propagating misleading claims in the issue. The decision has been made in the face of the union government's apathy towards the woes of large sections of people who resided in forest fringes, he said. In a statement, Mr. Shashindran said the government's decision was made in accordance with the Wildlife Protection Act. It is aimed at finding a permanent solution to the problems faced by farmers and other inhabitants who resided in forest fringes. The government has not granted permission to hunt the animals inside forests, he said. He also instructed the Principal Secretary Forests to furnish a formal reply to Ms. Gandhi to explain the rationale behind the government's decision. Whatever be Kerala government's argument, the wild boar is part and parcel of ecological system. Disturbing the system will certainly backfire. Killing is never a scientific solution. Why can't government think of humane and sensible methods like building fences, bursting firecrackers, beating drums, or keeping watchdogs to scare wild boars back into the forest?